Today our topic is the role of suffering in human growth. Life is not always easy. There are moments of joy, but there are also moments of pain. Suffering is something everyone experiences, no matter who they are or where they come from. It is a universal part of being human. But suffering is not just pain. It can also be a powerful teacher. It can help us grow, change, and become stronger. This is not an easy idea to accept, especially when we are in the middle of a hard situation. But if we look at suffering in a different way, we can see how it shapes us and helps us become better versions of ourselves. First, let's talk about why suffering exists. Life is full of challenges. We face problems at work, in relationships, with our health, and even within ourselves. These challenges can feel overwhelming, but they are also opportunities. When we face difficulties, we are forced to think, adapt, and find solutions. This process is not comfortable, but it is necessary for growth. Think about a tree. A tree that grows in a windy area develops stronger roots because it has to fight against the wind. In the same way, when we face struggles, we develop strength, resilience, and wisdom. Suffering pushes us to grow in ways we might not have imagined. Now, let's talk about how suffering can teach us. One of the most important lessons suffering teaches us is gratitude. When things are going well, it is easy to take them for granted. But when we experience loss or hardship, we start to appreciate what we have. For example, if you lose your job, you might realize how much you value the stability it gave you. Or if you go through a breakup, you might appreciate the love and support of your friends and family more. Suffering reminds us of what truly matters in life. It helps us see the value in the small things, like a kind word, a warm meal, or a quiet moment. Another lesson suffering teaches us is empathy. When we go through hard times, we become more aware of the struggles of others. We understand what it feels like to be in pain, and this makes us more compassionate. For example, if you have experienced loneliness, you are more likely to reach out to someone who is feeling alone. If you have faced financial difficulties, you might be more willing to help someone who is struggling with money. Suffering connects us to others. It reminds us that we are not alone in our struggles, and that we can support each other through difficult times. Suffering also helps us discover our inner strength. When things are going well, we might not realize how strong we are. But when we face challenges, we are forced to dig deep and find the courage to keep going. This is not easy, but it is incredibly empowering. Think about a time when you faced a difficult situation. At first, it might have felt impossible to overcome. But as you worked through it, you discovered strengths you didn't know you had. Maybe you found the courage to speak up for yourself, the patience to wait for a better opportunity, or the determination to keep trying even when things felt hopeless. Suffering shows us that we are capable of more than we think. Now let's talk about how to deal with suffering. One of the most important things to remember is that suffering is temporary. No matter how hard things seem, they will not last forever. This is not always easy to believe in the moment, but it is true. Life is constantly changing. The pain you feel today will not be the same pain you feel tomorrow. This is why it is important to take things one step at a time. Focus on what you can do right now, even if it is something small. Maybe it is just getting out of bed, taking a walk, or talking to a friend. Small steps can lead to big changes over time. Another way to deal with suffering is to accept it. This might sound strange, but fighting against pain often makes it worse. When we resist suffering, we create more tension and stress. But when we accept it, we can start to work through it. Acceptance does not mean giving up or saying that everything is fine. It means acknowledging the reality of the situation and allowing yourself to feel whatever you are feeling. This can be hard, but it is also liberating. When you stop fighting against your pain, you can start to find peace. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, teaches us a lot about how to handle suffering. The Stoics believed that suffering comes from our thoughts and attitudes, not from the events themselves. They taught that we cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. This is a powerful idea. It means that even in the most difficult situations, we have the power to choose our attitude. For example, if you lose your job, you can choose to see it as a failure or as an opportunity to find something better. If you go through a breakup, you can choose to focus on the pain or on the lessons you have learned. The Stoics believe that by changing our perspective, we can find meaning and strength in our suffering. One of the most important Stoic practices is focusing on what we can control. There are many things in life that are out of our control, like the weather, other people's actions, or global events. But there are also things we can control, like our thoughts, our actions, and our attitude. When we focus on what we can control, we feel more empowered. We stop wasting energy on things we cannot change and start using our energy to improve our situation. This does not mean ignoring the things we cannot control. It means accepting them and focusing on what we can do to make things better. Finally, let's talk about how suffering can lead to growth. When we go through hard times, we are forced to confront our fears, our weaknesses, and our limitations. This is not easy, but it is necessary for growth. Suffering pushes us out of our comfort zone and forces us to change. For example, if you lose someone you love, you might learn how to live without them. If you fail at something, you might learn how to try again. These experiences are painful, but they also help us become stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. They teach us about ourselves and about life. Suffering also helps us find meaning. Viktor Frankl, a psychologist who survived the Holocaust, wrote about this in his book Man's Search for Meaning. He believed that even in the most difficult circumstances, we can find meaning in our suffering. This meaning gives us the strength to keep going. For example, if you are caring for a sick loved one, you might find meaning in the love and connection you share. If you are working hard to achieve a goal, you might find meaning in the effort and dedication you put into it. Suffering can be a reminder of what truly matters in life and can inspire us to live with purpose. In conclusion, suffering is a natural part of life. It is not something to be avoided or feared, but something to be understood and embraced. It teaches us gratitude, empathy, and strength. It helps us discover our inner resilience and find meaning in our lives. By accepting suffering and focusing on what we can control, we can grow from our experiences and become better versions of ourselves. Remember, suffering is temporary, and it is also a powerful teacher. When we face it with courage and an open mind, we can transform our pain into growth and find peace in the process.